Cinemills TV on the corner of Sepulveda and Roscoe, and we're at Dr. Hogly Wogly's Tyler, Texas barbecue, and we're breaking bread with these two gentlemen. We got Lonely and Mohawk Matt from the 818.
Check out some barbecue with us, Valley style. Sepulveda Blvd.
So we're here in the San Fernando Valley with two of the Valley's finest, Mohawk Matt, Lonely, Brian James, and we're at Dr. Hogly Wogly's. It's Tyler, Texas barbecue, and we're about to break bread with Mohawk Matt and Lonely, man. Matt, tell us a little bit about the significance of Dr. Hogly Wogly's Texas barbecue.
This place has just been here since I was a kid. I love this place. It's got great memories. Just a great location on the Sepulveda Blvd, where me and him kind of technically both grew up on different sides of the boulevard, one above, one below, and it just brings us back to childhood memories.
Right. And Lonely, what would you do to have a meal like this in prison, man?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, these are the meals you dream about. You know, the pulled pork sandwich. And the crazy part is I've passed this place at least 100 times. Everybody I know has ever been here. Yeah. It's their favorite place.
Right.
And so what better time than with my brother right here to eat for the first time. I've never been here.
That's right. Yeah, Matt. Matt, what do you recommend here, man?
Pulled pork sandwich is fire.
Pulled pork sandwich is
fire. I had it when I was a kid with my dad. You know, my dad grew up around here too, and this is one of the things he recommended.
Right. And Lonely, what are you gonna go with, big dog?
I'm gonna follow suit with Matt, and I'm gonna go with the pulled pork.
Okay.
Kind of reminds me of that movie, Once Upon a Time in Mexico. You ever see that movie with Johnny Depp?
That's a great movie, man.
Every time someone makes a good pulled pork sandwich, he has to kill him because it's too good.
Matt, this is a great treat, man. Thank you for bringing us here.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man. So, Lonely, since we've last checked in with you, how's life been treating you outside as a free man?
Yeah. So, I'm out of the transitional housing that I was in. I did my 6 months there in downtown Los Angeles. And that was... you know, I'm still on parole, but that was like the last grip. So I'm out here. I'm living in Santa Clarita, still training dogs. I've been working on the Strangest Fruit movement with my best friend, who I actually train dogs with inside of Corcoran State Prison, and just learning, living every day.
And he's the guy you train dogs with is an interesting guy. He's a former Piru, right?
Yeah, well, he actually is a Ludus Piru blood. Okay. You know, his mentality, his thinking has evolved, but yeah, sure. He still is that.
Sure. And Matt, we all graduate from the streets, right?
Yeah.
But how do we shake that street mentality, bro?
I like to say we can graduate from the streets, but the streets don't graduate from us. A lot of us are able to maintain that discipline of like who we were, what we have, and we just, like me and Brian always talk about, we're not acting like we're 16. We're not showing off. I mean, it's there. It's still there if we need it, but I don't need to run around here and act like a kid. We've gone through so much shit that, like, I mean, every couple more hours we get out here counts.
And you think about like the transferable skills from the streets into the business world that we're in. Meeting somebody and within 5 seconds taking their temperature, understanding what they're about, getting a read on them. We had to do that in prison to stay alive, to survive.
I feel, if you don't mind me interjecting, I feel like a lot of the stuff we see sometimes, like we just, you know, if you've really been places and done things, you don't do some of the things that we see, and we just trip out. Because like he said, you can read people, you can read a room. I know where my exits and entrances are. I don't need to be acting all crazy and psycho. And again, a lot of these transferable skills to business, it's like the art of war. Remember we talked about? Dude, that stuff applies to life. It's not just a prison yard or a book. A lot of these things, they transfer into what we do for networking and social media and business.
Right, and you know, that's a skill a lot of civilians don't have, Lonely, is the ability to read people very quickly.
Yeah.
A lot of people get bamboozled. So having that street edge to you really does help in just in business, right?
Yeah, definitely. If anything, I think it gives you an advantage because I have life experiences. Like, you have a lot of people that may have college degrees, are educated, but these are book smarts. I've actually lived through that.
Yeah.
So I think that does give me an advantage.
Yeah. Right.
Very transferable. And Matt, would you say, you have a work ethic, man, that's quite impeccable, meaning you're always working, bro. You're always grinding. Is that part of the discipline from prison? Is that a transferable
I look at it like all the way beginning with graffiti. If I wanted to get famous, I need to get up and get out. I need to move. And you got to do things moving. So I keep it moving. If I want to get famous, if I want to be on a show, if I want to be modeling, if I want to be posting, if I want to get famous, you got to work at it. And in the process, I try to bring all my bros that deserve that shot with me in the game, and vice versa. You know what I mean? I do my best to reach my hand back for any of our people.
And you guys conduct yourself in a way that's just different. It's not what's going on with the younger generation. And you know what, Matt? It's part of it's our fault, man. As the OGs, man, we're not really schooling these guys, right? Do you take some blame a little bit?
How can I answer that? I actually don't, because I think that there was a shift. The whole schooling thing, I kind of want to say, is out the window. We grew up with being taught down by older homies. I think that has stopped. I think there just was a shift in the new generation to where we're at a place where none of us have ever seen, and that goes along with like what we were saying with politics and personal lifestyle choices and a lot of stuff in the world today. We hit a weird change to where it's like we're at a new evolutionary place on everything from gangs to personal ideas and genders, and we're at a really weird place in America to where it's like our groups and our values, they're not the same that people have and are learning today.
And the thing too is, like, I think, at least in my experiences, like a great majority of the people, like youngsters that I've interacted with, like they still are loyal and committed to the codes. And it's just the people that are wild, that are doing these things, their voices are a lot more louder, so it garners a lot more attention. But there still are a lot of people that are still well-principled.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And Matt, you go back into time when you were running and gunning on the streets. Aren't you glad there weren't cell phone cameras and all that shit?
Well, I mean, I can't even begin to understand, how are you gangbanging today? Me and him were talking the other day about, like, when he was in jail, he missed some of the things I went through, just like I missed some of the things he went through. And I mean, I remember in the 90s, 95, 96, there were times where we did so many shootings that in one night, in a week, let's just say one weekend through a summer. I remember doing so much shit that my car was coated with gunpowder resin. You could smell gunpowder for 9 months after. I can't even imagine what these kids, number one, how are they committing crimes with cameras and locations and cell phones tracking you? Like, there really is no more privacy and safety. How are you gangbanging, number one? It seems like it's evolved onto social media, and it's more about acting a certain way with a persona than actually putting in the physical footwork to be a gangster and do what a gangster used to do. That's why I say our generation of homies, big homies, veteranos, brothers, they're gone. They're done. They're either busted or they've quit. The new generation, there is no training them, because we're reached a new place to where they've evolved to, it's about running your mouth, it's about showing off, and there's so many cameras and stuff today that how could you do a shooting without being caught on 7 cameras on one block? How could you even get in a fist fight after a movie like we would, remember, over a girl or something? How are you going to do any of that today?
And in the 90s, when you're talking about gang banging and shootings and things like that, like, you would circle the block 2 or 3 times to make sure nobody's there. Mm-hmm. Now, today it's you turn on YouTube and you film it.
Yeah, and people are blacked out.
When I see that, like the filming of that, my first thought is like, you're creating a transcript that's going to be used against you.
You're creating a physical evidence packet for the state. Yeah, it's insane. You're convicting. But that's what it is. Today it's all about, hey, look at me. I want you to see me do this. Okay, well, enjoy the jail cell that comes along with that.
Yeah.
Hope you like ramen.
Lonely, you made a comment that there's two people in this world that are involved in the gangbanging culture. There's those who have tasted the pain and those who haven't yet, right? Yeah. Speak on that a little bit.
Well, we were talking about some of the decisions that people made, and we talk about, you know, what they're doing by, you know, waving guns and stuff like that. They haven't got to the consequences yet.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the consequences. Mm-hmm. I know it. Like, I was convicted of murder. I did 29 years for murder. I've only been out 7 months, actually. I want to try to tap in and get into the ears of them before they reach that consequence, because I don't wish what I went through on anybody. Nobody deserves it. Nobody deserves it. So all I can do is share my experience, and if you hear it, I'll give you the information and you do what you want with it.
That's the best thing he said that I use. I use it all the time. When you say, like, what would you tell a kid? Well, I can't tell you because you're not going to listen to me. But what I will tell you is, let me give you some tools, throw in that toolbox, because let me tell you what is going to happen. Let me tell you how it's going to be when you hit that holding tank. And
I don't expect them to. I don't understand the world today. Like, I'm an old guard. You know, this isn't the 90s anymore. I don't know how it is to live in this generation. So that's why I say all I can do is offer my experiences.
You would like to think that if you listen to us, we've done the dope, we've done the time, we've done the shootings, the stabbings, the jumpings, the robberies, the group meetings, we've done the initiations. You would like to think that we did that for this generation, but we're at a place where even we can't help you right now with, let's just say, drugs, fentanyl, and that new trank stuff that's out. We're at a stage where I can't even give you advice on these things because I don't understand it. Right. I was telling him the other day at my birthday last week, we had a party, and I was like, I started saying youngsters these days, and my girlfriend was laughing at me. Kids these days. I was saying this, and I'm realizing, it goes hand in hand with what we're saying. The generation of the Crocs and the sweatpants and the pajamas in public go hand in hand with the guy that films the video of him holding a gun, aiming it at people, calling you out. That's foreign to me. I'm not disrespecting people that do it. I'm just saying, to me, that's foreign because I don't get it, because we didn't act that way in my era. And I can only say that I can't help people with that because I don't relate to that. I don't get down that way. I don't relate to also fentanyl and stuff. I can't imagine what it's like injecting something that 9 1/4 out of 10 will kill you.
And God forbid you get caught, go to prison. That type of behavior is not received well.
I can tell you
on the maximum security yards.
On a level 4 yard, unless you're even in a fucking level 3 cell living situation in CDC, I can guarantee this is across white, black, Mexican, Paisan, American Indians, and most others. You're not going to act that way in a system. That behavior will not be tolerated. It might go down on YouTube, but it's not going to be tolerated in the system. You're
not even going to make it to your building.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be coming from...
you won't get your laundry in the yard.
Yeah. You're going to go get your laundry and you're going to be heading to your building. You're not going to make it there.
You could get airlifted off the yard. I've seen dudes get air evac'd off a 4 yard,
And now you guys enter a world where people are wearing Crocs and PJs out to dinner.
They're wearing Crocs and PJs and they're pulling guns on people.
Right.
It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was another thing, too, like, that blew me away was, you know, when we were doing it, you could recognize a cholo at the time. It was cholo or a
we had a uniform.
Nowadays,
you have no idea who's what, and then everybody's sagging, and you're sagging with Crocs and pajamas, and I'm just lost.
We were in downtown LA.
I can't relate. I don't know how to help the youngsters today. I just don't, because I don't get down that way.
Right, and Lonely, you don't know who's who these days. You might get your ass kicked by a guy wearing Ugg boots and a mesh tank top, man.
Some purple sweats and just pull a cannon out on you.
I'm not gonna lie. I went and bought 3 pairs of shoes earlier, and I got pretty intimidated by a kid with some Crocs on.
Yeah.
Now is the day of the Crocs, man.
That's the Nike Cortez.
That's the Nike Cortez today. Are Crocs with fucking pineapple pins on them.
The charms.
Pineapple charms. If you got more flair than me, my boy. I'll stick with my Air Max.
But we'll snatch your life.
Yeah,
we'll
snatch your life at the gas station over a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, Lonely, if I have to lose my life in the streets, the guy better not be wearing Crocs or Ugg boots, man.
I would like to respectfully request you're at least wearing Jordan 3s or 4s.
Yeah.
If you take my win.
I will haunt you forever.
Or a pair of Cortezes at least, guys.
At least be from the 90s, because I'm gonna come back and haunt you.
But please don't finish us off wearing Crocs and Ugg boots, baby, with a purple mohawk. You know?
And a Smashing Pumpkins t-shirt. They don't even know who the Smashing Pumpkins are.
Yeah.
That's another trend. You notice that trend? Kids wear band t-shirts, have no idea who the band is. I approached a kid at the mall. He's wearing a Misfit tee. I said, hey man, I love the Misfits. I got them tattooed on me. He goes, oh yeah, cool. I said, what's your favorite song? He goes, I have no idea. I'm like, you're wearing a shirt. How do you not know give me one Misfit song? And he goes, no, I gotta go. And I'm like, no, you ain't leaving. I wanna hear one Misfit. Name one song. Come on. He goes, no, I got a whole room full of these shirts. I don't know any of their bands. I'm like, it's just trendy to wear stuff you have no idea about.
Look at that brisket, guys. Look at that brisket, guys. This is just amazing, guys. And oh my God, these steak fries. We got some big steak fries here. This is a feast. This is a feast. So, Lonely, 1 to 10, that pulled pork sandwich, man. What are we at here?
We're at a 13.
We're at 13.
We're at 13. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And Matt, is the pork just moist and look at that?
If this was in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I'd have to go kill the chef right now. Yeah. Fit for a Valley King. And our era is gone. That 90s era of everything we went through, it's gone.
It's gone. Everyone's telling now, Matt.
Also, they're on YouTube too.
They're on YouTube, yeah.
I gotta stop saying that.
It's a sad shame, but it is what it is, guys. You guys are the last of the Mohicans.
You were fighting wars with cops too. Cops weren't playing either back then. We didn't just have enemies in the valley, but we had cops that would like pull up and they would whoop your ass. Gangs got so bad in Los Angeles County that the only reaction they had was to act and deal with gangs as gang members themselves. And if you can understand that, you'll understand. It doesn't make what they did right, but it also, being a gang member, I can understand it. You're not gonna come at me with all these rules and respect and fucking your rights when these dudes, because like me and him were just talking earlier, you know, when you grow up and you mature, you realize some people need to be in jail. There are some of us in society that they need to be locked away.
As hard as it is to say.
As hard as that is to say, because I don't want to hate on nobody, but there are some people that don't need to be on the streets with us. I tell people this, one of the things I will talk about from the joint, because my group was a little bit intense, and my group was good and bad, and you make relationships with other men when you're in the joint that are not what you normally would. And you find friendships with people that you normally wouldn't even expect to have them. I was white. I am white. I ran white. My groups were in that nature. And I became such good friends with a couple Bloods and a Crip from San Bernardino. And I'll never forget, besides just talking and casual conversations, whenever there's something was going down in the yard and our groups didn't align, we had become close enough to where we weren't sellies. We didn't sit at the tables and spend the whole afternoon talking, but we would walk laps and, we'd chop it up to what we were allowed to. And I remember getting tipped off a few times, like, hey, Wood, don't hit the yard today. Or if you go out, hit that canteen line as fast as you can and stay off the handball court. Stay away from the fucking water fountain or the shitter. You just get tip-offs, and in return, you give them the courtesy as well. You know what I mean? We might not be best friends, but we had enough respect for each other that we would tip each other off. And not that my white homeboys didn't have my back, but it's a different level when you become friends with someone that you've gone to war with, and they're from a different race or a different group, and they still have your back.
especially like in that environment where you're not street gang banging, you're not thugs. These are like almost like business operations. So it's almost just like a common courtesy. You know, we're gonna conduct a piece of business today early on in this section of the yard, so it's just a courtesy, like a mutual respect.
I remember a riot one time where my homeboy was a Blood, and he, you know, when there's a riot in prison, I tell people how scary that is when you see 40 or so men moving at each other at one time with handheld weapons. It's like a scene out of Braveheart. And people don't realize how quick, how fast, and how serious that movement is. It all happens within a second, 4 seconds, boom, we're on top of each other. And people are getting stabbed left and right while you're fighting. And if you weren't smart enough to get a knife to yard, you're getting stabbed. And you're lucky to fend off. And I've seen the homies get their arms all whacked to pieces because they're trying to fend off the stab wounds. And I've gone at it with my friends who were other races and blacks, maybe a couple others, islanders. We chose each other so we'd cause the less damage. We'd make it, you know, when you learn little tricks of the trade when you're in the joint, and friends, people that were my friends, like, damn, I'm not trying to kill somebody, catch a case at the same time. Like, I don't want to get whacked by my people for not being as much as involved. So you pick the homie and you just go at it. A friendly fight, as long as you're getting your money and you're still actively involved, it's the lesser of two evils. If you've ever seen a prison riot go down, it happens fast and quick, and it's violent. It's like that scene in Shot Caller. Remember that? Have you seen Shot Caller yet? You gotta watch it.
The one with John Bernthal, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, they go at it at the yard and it's fast. Everything's usually already on the yard and it just happens faster than you can think.
Those situations are just pure chaos. They happen in a split second, and it's just everybody. You're just, you're in complete survival mode. You're operating out of desperation. You know, you're swinging, you're fighting. Terrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible situation.
No, it sounds god awful.
Lives are lost. People are hurt. It's a terrible situation. We were in the middle of a scuffle, and I got hit with a razor blade right here. You can still see the scar when you look up close, but
yeah, I see it.
Yeah, if you get hit with a razor blade, the amount of blood that comes out, it's insane.
Razor blades, I'd rather get stabbed by a knife. Razor blades open you up to a level that just, it's insane.
Yeah.
A little thin razor blade from a disposable razor will fuck you off more than getting hit. I would rather get hit than fucking just opened up. And those things, they always hold them and they go for your face.
Yeah.
They go for your face, those things. And those cuts on your face are the worst.
They call them tomahawks.
Yeah, they're not sewing you up nice and pretty.
The razors are secured into something.
You're usually getting fucking Frankenstein.
Yeah. When you see it, like, you know, like a fear sets in. You know, you still have to remain in survival mode, conscious of what's going on around you. You know, the riot doesn't stop because my face got cut open by a razor blade.
Lonely, recently we had a guest on. He's a Rolling 60s Crip named Cowboy.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the controversy behind Cowboy is one of his own homeboys shot Nipsey Hussle in cold blood in front of the Marathon store. But he went on the witness stand on behalf of the prosecution. And a lot of people said he went against the grain, against the G code. What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard for me to give an opinion because I don't know what he said. I mean, I've seen circumstances where people have got on a stand seeking like a self-defense or in helping the defense. So just because you get on the stand doesn't necessarily consider a violation, at least where I come from. But I can't, without knowing what a person said, or I can't give any type of opinion.
That's really fair. And Matt, you know, I know in your car, by no means are you going on a stand on behalf of the prosecution.
I'm just not going on the stand.
Period. Whether you're subpoenaed
no disrespect to anybody. And again, like, I want to reiterate what he said. I don't know details. I just know that I try to avoid that because there's really, I just don't want to do it.
Trying to stay out of courtrooms.
Yeah, I just don't want to be in a courtroom, let alone, I'm not, it goes back to what I said with the cops. I don't respect the cops, but I also don't fuck with them either. I've gotten sober and changed my life to a level that they're not fucking with me, so I don't fuck with them. But I'm also never, and I say this emphatically, never will I go out of my way to help them either.
Right.
No offense to the victims' families. My heart goes out to victims across America. But that's not, no, this is gonna sound harsh, but this is the street reality. That ain't my problem. Whatever went on ain't my problem, and I don't wanna be involved in that.
Have you been pulled over recently? I mean, and for no reason, right?
No, you know, that happens sometimes when I'm in Santa Clarita, that will happen when I go to my mom's house. I got pulled over on the freeway. I was an asshole. I was texting, swerving, and I was in the carpool lane by myself. So I got hit with a $1,000 fine, dog. That shit is no joke. So I have to say, yeah, fuck cops, but I was in the carpool lane by myself. I was texting and I was swerving. Right. Can I be mad at him? No, I'm an adult. Fuck the cops. Yeah, but I was in like 4 violational codes on the freeway system of the 405.
Ended up costing you six
Ended
pairs
up costing
of shoes.
me
6 pairs of shoes.
And that was at least 4 to 5 Nike Air Max I could have gotten. Right. And now I'm out that. But that's my fault. That ain't the cops' fault.
Matt, you mentioned last time we had you on, you have a shoe collection that you got to build a new room for it.
Oh, yeah, I just saw it.
Brian, ask Brian. He just saw it.
Brian, explain this shoe collection.
I'm talking like just the whole side of the wall from the floor to the ceiling is just perfect, like the Gap, perfectly folded shirts, hoodies, jackets, and then the shoe collection. Yeah, it's definitely going to fill this booth.
It's offensive.
Yeah.
It's offensive.
Yeah, it's absurd.
And Matt, is that from not having the ability to have all those shoes when you were locked down? Is it?
I think it's a mixture of a couple of things. Number one, when we're busted, obviously they limit us. CDCR limits you to what, 1 pair of shoes. You're not even allowed to have yard stompers. You're allowed to have 1 pair of state boots and 1 pair of shoes. Mind you, we always break the code and get some shoes sent to someone else and get a backup pair, but when I came home, it was just nice to have a few pair. And then me having a few pair turned into, I just need this pair for this day and this day. And I realized I was switching when I got sober, my addiction for buying shoes.
And Lonely, I know you're a neat freak, man. Everything's organized in your home. And is organization also something that's important for your daily life, your discipline, your routine now?
Yeah, especially now. Like my mom makes fun of me because she calls like her house like the biggest cell I've ever been in, you know, because I'm leaving stuff everywhere. I'm used to my locker. So I'm not used to like multiple rooms. I leave stuff everywhere. I can't find my AirPods as we speak right now. I don't know where they're at. Like,
you know, you got location on them, right?
Yeah, it's like the 5th time I've lost them. But yeah, I have to keep my stuff squared away the way I keep it.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, that is funny, man.
Find your AirPods.
His AirPods have location. The homie doesn't know.
But it's not hooked up. It's literally not. Yeah.
Mine go off all the time. Let me know when I left them in the car.
you know, it's funny, Lonely. We rib you for not knowing all this shit, but I'm impressed you know what you know.
Yeah. What I don't know, I go and ask my 11-year-old nephew.
Yeah,
and he informs me every kind of technological question.
It's called millennial tech support, man. We all need one around us. Yep. It's crazy, man.
Nothing as bad as the one guy when I was in
the App Store?
Yeah, when I was in transitional housing, I think I told you last time, this dude had done like 43 years and he got out and he's walking around the transitional housing like this, like, I'm trying to find the directions to the App Store.
Right.
He was looking for the App Store. He wanted to know what street it was on.
What street it was on,
man. It's on the corner of your iPhone and
It's on the corner of balls up and iPhone.
Damn. It's on your home screen with your thumb. Like,
It's crazy, man. Matt and Lonely, thank you for breaking bread with Cinemills TV today, man. We love the food, bro. Thank you, man. Shout out to both of you.
Thanks for coming to the hometown, center of the universe.
That's
breaking bread with us in the valley. The only Valley,
baby, the
SFV. Yeah, come check out Hogly Wogly's on Sepulveda, right above Roscoe, right in the center of the universe.
Real
Best
smoker.
barbecue place.
They've got a real smoker. You can't get a smoker these days. You had to have that grandfathered in. And founded by John Green, guys, who was originally a pharmacist, believe it or not, from Tyler, Texas. Matt's going to Texas. Shit, get your cowboy hat, Matt. We need those boots,
I got a pair of boots.
Yeah. Rep it. We're getting Lonely some cowboy boots too, baby.
Yeah, as long as they got spurs on them.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dog. Bye.